What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to yet another year of Monday Night Raw reviews. We are getting into the first episode of Raw for the year of 1995, which is January 2nd. Episode 93, I believe, if I'm keeping track correctly. Now, before we start the review, I just want to point out the power rankings list that's going to be on the screen throughout the review. Let me know what you guys think on my power rankings, who I ranked too high, who I ranked too low, who I missed. Maybe I missed somebody that, was on the show for a decent amount of time and I just left them out and I forgot about them. But I think the list is pretty much accurate in terms of how they were booked on the show and obviously their wins and losses throughout the year of 1994, heading into obviously this year and going into the Royal Rumble. So, Raw starts off with a quick promo of Jeff Jarrett plugging his singing debut on tonight's episode. Shawn Michaels and Gorilla Monsoon on commentary this show. First match of the night, though, is supposed to be Bulldog and Luger versus Bigelow and Tatanka, but as Lex gets in the ring, he gets jumped. Bulldog quickly runs out for the save as the match officially begins. New Year means that I have to explain the review rules just in case nobody knows. I do have a skip list, and this means that I get to skip Superstars matches who are on this list. So far, Lex Luger and Tatanka have made this list, so to start off the new year, I get to skip this match because both of those guys are on this list. And the reason that I have this list is so that I don't have to sit through matches of wrestlers who I don't really care for. I mean, if I was getting paid, maybe I'd care, but I'm just doing this for the love of it, and I really do not want to sit through these guys' matches. And at SummerSlam, around SummerSlam time, I'm going to be adding somebody else. So, and I got to be really strategic because I can only add one person every year, and I got to make sure that they're going to be, that it makes sense for me to add them. Like, for example, Luger and Tatanka, they have a lengthy WWF career, so I have to, keep that in mind. I'm not going to add somebody like King Kong Bundy, who by 1996 isn't on the show anymore. I have to pick somebody like, let's say, Henry Godwin. He's in the WWF now. He does have a lengthy career. I don't really care to see his matches. Getting to the end of this match, all four guys spill to the outside and they brought to a countout. And again, new year, but same old shit with the WWF. They give us these hype matches, or at least in their eyes, they want to build this up to be a big time match or whatever. And then they give us these shit finishes. I would say, they do it for a reason. And I guess at this time they are. I think they have to be building this to something else between Luger and Bulldog and Tatanka. I'm surprised that this Tatanka and Luger feud, million dollar corporation thing is still going on. But they continue. I don't understand why they need to do this. They can just build it up, actually make it a big deal, and have a conclusive winner. What is the point of stretching this out? What are you stretching this out for? For somebody to eliminate Lex Luger? For the whole corporation to eliminate Lex Luger from the Royal Rumble? For Lex Luger to get his revenge and with the help of Bulldog eliminate the corporation from the Rumble? Like, what is this leading up to? Nobody has a title. Nobody is in a main event for anything on either of these sides right now, so I just don't understand why they're continuing this feud. Next up, we then get the Royal Rumble report, and Todd Pettengill hypes up the pay per view while saying that he's had enough of the NFL and that they should just give the rings to the 49ers. And he wasn't wrong because the 49ers destroyed the Chargers in this year's Super Bowl 49-26. I see what they did there. 49ers got 49 points. Jeff Jarrett is set to take on Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship at the Royal Rumble, along with Diesel and Bret Hart for the WWF title. Of course, Pamela Anderson is hosting the show, which, hey, I'm not going to complain about that. You want to put Pamela Anderson on the show? By all means. The Undertaker is also going to be taking on the IRS, and again, I can't really get mad because, I mean, they've been setting this up since Survivor Series. I do kind of appreciate that they're setting up the feud instead of just throwing it on the pay-per-view randomly. At least IRS and Undertaker have a reason to be, in a match against each other. Then the roadie is seen setting up the microphone and audio for later on. He goes sneaking to the back as Duke the Dumpster Drozy comes out for a match against a jobber. He picks up the win with the trash compactor, which is a nice looking power slam, I will say. He swings the guy around from a sidewalk slam position up into a power slam. If that makes any sense, hopefully I have the clips. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just do pictures. But moving on from that, we get a vignette for Kama, who is coming soon. Then again, the roadie at ringside making sure everything is good to go for Jeff Jarrett. We then see footage of the WWF Tag Team Tournament, where Owen Hart and Jim Neidhart got caught cheating and got DQ'd, allowing for the Head Shrinkers to move on in the tournament. Again, this will conclude at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. And then speaking of the Hart Foundation, we get another King's Court. His guest this week is Owen Hart. They give us the Royal Rumble. They give us the Royal Wave, but Owen says that the fans don't deserve it. They bring up Survivor Series where Owen put on a great performance in getting his parents to throw in the towel for Brett and costing him the WWF title. Owen runs down the year of 1994 and how good it was for him, but the best moment, he says, was seeing Brett lose the WWF Championship. The King asks what the big announcement Owen has, and the big scoop is that he promises to retire as the WWF Champion and to never lose the title like his brother did, and says that he will win the Rumble match, but Sean on commentary says that 1995 will be the year of HB. I didn't forget to say HBK. That's actually what Sean says. He says HB. A little bit of foreshadowing there by the hard break, I guess. Finally, the moment we have all been waiting for. Jeff Jarrett makes his way down to the ring. He's taking on a local enhancement talent first. He hits a superplex and then submits the guy with the figure 4 leg lock. So after a year of build up, we are finally going to hear from Jeff Jarrett starting his musical career. Jarrett and Rhodey do multiple mic checks. They knock over the microphone and set the mood with the lights. He asks for the spotlight, but he doesn't get it. Then the microphone starts screeching. Gorilla Monsoon asks where Kevin Dunn is when you need him. And instead, Jeff Jarrett gets pissed off at the Rhodey with all the screw ups and he just walks away to the back. So, in typical WWF fashion, they build something up only for them not to give it to you. So, Jeff Jarrett, it looks like we're going to have to wait to see when he does start to sing. I think, to be honest, if I remember correctly, this might take a while, and if you know what happens, spoiler alert here, he doesn't even end up being the guy that has the musical talent. So then after that, Gorilla Monsoon interviews Super Dave Osborne, who appears to be a stuntman. We see footage of Dave getting into a confrontation with a critic. Not sure what that footage was from because it had a laugh track, but they just plugged the guy's upcoming show. I'm not going to plug it here, so if you care to watch a stuntman show from the 90s, go look it up. That had no place on the show whatsoever. I don't know what that was for. Then coming back, we get the tag match from earlier continuing. Luger and Bulldog versus Tatanka and Bigelow back in the ring. So it looks like it did have a reason to end in a DQ finish or count out, whatever it was. Going to the end again, Luger clotheslines Bigelow to the outside of the ring. Then Bigelow got back on the apron. Tatanka gets Irish whipped into him, and Bulldog quickly covers him for the win. Lame ending. Might as well just have ended it the way that it did earlier with that count out. As the winners celebrate, DiBiase gets mad at Bigelow for the loss. Bam Bam tries to plead his case, but Tatanka and DiBiase point the blame at him for costing them the match. I thought them restarting the match was the reason for the countout and why the Luger and Corporation feud was continuing. So now it actually looks like it's Bam Bam Bigelow being kicked out of the Corporation is why that was stretched out. I have no idea where this is going. So that pretty much does it for the show. I mean, if it wasn't for the tag match including Luger and Tatanka opening and closing the show, I could see myself giving this a good grade. Maybe if they just did it for the main event and they did it with a count out, but then the ref said, "Hey, this match has to end," and then they did that stuff with Bigelow at the end. If they did it all in one single swoop, basically, I would have probably given it a good grade. Probably not because it was still a Luger and Tatanka match, but instead of doing it at the top of the show and then finishing it with such a lame ending. But yeah, it's gonna get a bad grade. The Jarrett stuff was good. Sean on commentary was decent as always. Owen Hart as a guest on King's Court really never disappoints. However, the wrestling in the World Wrestling Federation for this show, it was nowhere to be found. So, because of that, I'm gonna give this first episode of Raw a bad grade. The good news is that the show can only go up from here, right? We're gonna keep going until like King of the Ring time before I take another break. So with that being said, I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.